A little bit was made.
Let's roll, baby. Welcome in. It is part 2 of the Divisional Weekend Ringer Sunday pregame with the Wise Guys. We are rocking and rolling on the FanDuel Sports Network. Of course, check us out via YouTube. We'll welcome in the Wise Guys momentarily. But today's Ringer Sunday pregame show, it's brought to you by FanDuel, where we are live on the FanDuel Sports Network. Odds subject to change. We're all in one piece. Jastremski here in New York, Cousin Sal in Los Angeles, Raheem the Dream, the 2025 Wise Wager champion in Las Vegas, and the lone wolf, the successful lone wolf in Buffalo, Denver, the astute Joe House. Now, Sal, death taxes and the Buffalo Bills losing in heartbreaking, anguishing fashion. It is a tradition unlike any other. You can basically have your fun and pick when it is going to be over the month of January, but it's not quite wide right like we saw against the Giants in 1990 in the Super Bowl, or the game that was played at Arrowhead, the 13 seconds, whatever they call that game. But it's yet another chapter of Josh Allen, this unbelievable all-world quarterback, not getting it done when it matters the most.
Disgusting, demoralizing. We've seen it over and over and over. JJ, we've seen it even more because we went to college in upstate New York. Wonderful people up there, but there's a reason they dive through tables and hit their head purposely so they don't have to remember moments like this. Hats off to the Bills fans.
Let's start here, Raheem. You know I'm a diehard New York Yankee fan. Watching Josh Allen and his emotions on the sideline, and I know a lot of people are going to bellyache about the catch or the catch that wasn't, that ends up being an interception for what it's worth, and this is coming from somebody who bet the Buffalo Bills on Saturday. I actually think the officials got it right. I don't want to hear the excuse making when you turn the ball over as much as the Buffalo Bills turn the football over. But Raheem, I couldn't help but to think, Josh Allen, Aaron Judge, whole lot in common at the moment, Dream.
Oh, most definitely. I look at Josh Allen and I see a guy who will always give you 1 or 2 turnovers. A lot of people, the media, there's a lot of people who just want it for Josh Allen so bad. They want him to be Floyd Mayweather, but unfortunately, he looks more like Miguel Cotto. Still a Hall of Famer, but he is just not the guy that they want him to be. Our very own Bill Simmons said he was the top dog in terms of quarterbacking. And he still hasn't passed Mahomes yet. I don't care if Mahomes didn't make the postseason. I look at Josh Allen. You're a guy. You're supposed to go in there and beat Bo Nix. You got 4 turnovers. Unfortunately, couldn't get it done.
House, I know you were the lone wolf. You get to gloat. You get to celebrate. Dude, Prater hits that kick to send the game to overtime. Despite everything that went wrong for the Buffalo Bills in that game, I'm saying, all right, Josh Allen's going to win this game. Bills are going to win this game. There's no way in the world the Bills are going to lose until, of course they do. Yet we have that dynamic, and you can't even enjoy the victory and the moment of euphoria if you're a Broncos fan, because Bo Nix ends up fracturing his ankle on the second to last play of the game and now is done for the AFC title game. Crazy world we live in, House.
It's literally unbelievable. And you can cast it in a whole bunch of different directions if you want. I mean, look at how this AFC conference, which was already wide the F open, is even more open now. There are a lot of futures you could try and get invested in right now, depending on your perspective on this Houston-New England game today. There's a lot of profitable angles yet to be had with the Super Bowl and so forth. But how has this happened for the Patriots, Cousin Sal? How are we sitting here? It is wide open. And, the one major handicap, I know we'll go through it, for this Patriots-Texans game had to do with the fierce foursome up front for the Texans. It's supposed to be snowing. It's going to start snowing here in the next hour, 4 to 6 inches, snow through the whole game. You know who that undermines and undercuts? The front 4 of the Houston Texans defense. My gosh.
Did you guys hear, sorry to interrupt, did you guys hear the league is considering making next week a home game for the Patriots? Denver would have to come to Foxborough. You half laugh, but it wouldn't really surprise you, would it? At this point, with every single bounce, Mickey Mouse bounce the Patriots are getting, it makes me sick, JJ.
I understand, and you're probably going to deal with someone who is either basking in the glory of his team being a favorite going into the AFC title game, or it's going to be a monstrous missed opportunity. For whoever loses this Patriot-Texan game, you're going to be absolutely sick to your stomach because the path to the Super Bowl became that much clearer after what you saw on Saturday. Raheem, any issue with the officiating? And I know that
None
was
at
a
all.
big topic.
Absolutely
Me neither.
none at all.
I'm glad I'm not on an island by myself because my mom has been giving me crap for this. A couple of Bills fans, not my buddy Mike Carver, who is honest and fair and reasonable and says, hey, no excuses. My quarterback, who is a stud, didn't play well enough. But yeah, Raheem, I'm glad that you are not crying about the refs in this game. Good for you, because I'm in the same boat.
At the end of the day, Buffalo should have won that game by multiple touchdowns. You had 5 turnovers at the end of the day. And I said on this show, and I also said it on Twitter, Drake May is going to win the Super Bowl before Josh Allen. That is now in play.
It could be this year. I mean, JJ, here's the thing with that Buffalo and why it was such a missed opportunity. Get away from me with this nonsense having to do with the referees. They were dominant on offense. I mean, we sat and tried to handicap how that Denver Broncos defense would play, and Raheem made the great point about the advantage Buffalo had with the interior rush. James Cook looked like he could run for 300 yards if he wanted to. It was just a matter of getting him the ball and not turning the ball over. The Buffalo Bills punted 0 times yesterday. The only team capable of stopping the Buffalo Bills was the Buffalo Bills. And this is why, if you want to bellyache about something, and this was part of my handicap, why did Sean McDermott give the Denver Broncos the football at the beginning of the overtime? There are all kinds of smart people out there that want to do the analysis with, well, then you know what you have to do. How about this? They went right down the field and got the field goal they needed and damn near got the touchdown that would have won the football game except for Superman Josh Allen overthrowing, I think it was Kincaid, right down the seam.
Knox. It was Knox.
Knox. It was. Yeah. I knew it was one of the two. Yeah. Right. Why not just take the ball and go do it all over again? There was no indication whatsoever the Denver Broncos were going to be able to stop the Bills on defense. We didn't see it the whole gosh darn day.
No, I get it, but you don't want to pull a Kyle Shanahan, though. That's the problem, you know? You don't want to pull a Kyle Shanahan.
Score a touchdown. What's the Shanahan?
Well, if Denver goes and scores a touchdown, gets to 2, they win the game.
Score a touchdown against a tired defense. You're giving the tired defense an extra 8 minutes of respite there. That's really, really dumb. And unless you score a touchdown and the other team scores a touchdown, there's no top of the second inning. It's advantage to the team you kicked off to.
Unless you go for 2. And Sean Payton's feeling frisky and says, F it, I'm going for 2. I'm winning the game right then and there.
I can't see a coach going for 2 in a playoff game. Like, that would be tough.
Oh, I don't know. If Josh Allen only needs a field goal, Raheem, I would try to get the 2 yards. That'd be me. But I don't coach in the NFL.
The overthrow to Knox, we won't in 100 years see what Josh Allen did right before the half, getting that fumble, running up the middle.
3 points. That ended up being a huge swing in the game.
The clock was running out.
After the interception that Bo Nix threw, Josh Allen gave it right back.
Right there.
I know I'm criticizing Josh Allen a lot, but I truly think this game swung on the Cook fumble. Because if the Buffalo had scored there,
they're going up 14-3.
Yeah, you up 14-3, and you got Bo Nix in a negative game script. And I think that was the important thing because you want to have him throwing to get back into the game and not being able to play even or, a touchdown down or 4 points down as opposed to, being right there the whole game.
But at least Cook got smashed. That was a big boy hit. You know what? Josh Allen taking the ball up the middle, just a stupid decision.
At the end of the half, when you're probably not scoring anyway. It's a give-up play.
The clock's running out. What is he doing? Anyway.
Lunacy. Now, I'll tell you what wasn't lunacy. The snooze fest of the second game that we watched between San Francisco and Seattle. And House, we saw this matchup in Week 18, and I think it was obvious to all of us, wow, Seattle looks much better. And yet, found a way to overthink it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting there saying, hey, I'm going to make the case for the Niners. They look so good against the Eagles. Darnold with this oblique. Darnold in a playoff game. House, it didn't even matter that Sam Darnold was playing in the postseason. When you go and return the opening kick, and then you get a bunch of turnovers, you didn't have to do much. Seattle just flexed and said, hey, we're much better than you. Case closed.
Yeah, I mean, thank God I had all of my exposure, all of the investment in Sam Darnold unders, completions, attempts, yards, under, mainly because I was worried about him possibly going out of that game. But the game script turned out, that the game was over after the kickoff return because San Francisco had one chance when they were on offense following that kickoff return. They got a little bit of a bum call in terms of where the spot was on 3rd and 1, and then they ran a preposterous play, gave Seattle a short field on which to go kick a field goal. It was 10-0, and there's no scenario under which San Francisco has the horsepower without Kittle, with a compromised McCaffrey. We saw it over the course of to come back from a negative game script against that defense. And I would try to speak it into existence. The San Francisco defense was actually not half bad. They were in a position where it was short field turnover by San Francisco, and the way that defense stepped up, but it just got to be too much, and San Francisco could do nothing at all on offense. And Seattle showed us why they deserved to get the 1 seed. They played like a 1 seed. That was a legit home field advantage, and all the numbers that reflect Seattle as a favorite in the Super Bowl feel like the right number to me.
And it's just amazing, Sal. Listen, when you deal with the amount of injuries that the Niners have dealt with throughout the course of this year, sooner or later it's going to catch up with you.
Yeah,
and this was the sort of game where it was just obvious, they don't have the horses to keep up with this team. No way.
Yeah, the problem is I'm not able to pick the sooner or later. Like, I knew it immediately, JJ, when that line wouldn't move off 7. I was like, damn it, I have the wrong side.
We should have known better. I totally agree with that.
This is
we
all
should have known
nonsense
better.
talk. Yeah.
Raheem, that's telling, right? Like when you have an injury that everybody's talking about on Twitter, like they were like hours leading up to kickoff. Oh, is Darnold going to be okay? Oh, is he going to be able to warm up? Is he going to be able to do this? And the odds makers say, yeah, you know what? We're good right where we're at. Maybe we'll move it a half
point. The line did drop. I saw some 6.5.
I mean, a half point, though, Dream. You know what I mean? A half point. Not much. Not much.
I mean,
it's almost like they baited more.
It's a half point off of a key number.
Yeah.
So I ended up staying away. Obviously, like I overthought it. Well, I mean, I had the first quarter under 8.5, and it was dead on the first play of the game.
That sucks.
So,
An opening kickoff, going back for a touchdown will do that to you, buddy boy. I feel the pain. Boys, we have so much coming your way. It is the divisional round, part 2, Ringer Sunday pregame. We got Wise Wagers. The family meal is harder than ever because you got 2 games and we need 4 touchdowns. So we'll try to make that magic happen. We'll have some guest picks coming up as well. Let's get to the Sunday slate. 3 o'clock Eastern. Texans, Patriots. The line is 3.5. The total is at 40.5. House, I'm going to give you the T-box first on this game because you were the only one to get an AFC game right on Saturday. So I have to give you the honors here to kick it off. You mentioned the snowy conditions that could play a role. You're not going to have Nico Collins. Christian Gonzalez is going to play for the New England Patriots. And we talked about it. The road to the Super Bowl could not be paved any better for the winner of this game. So, how you playing Texans Patriots?
Well, I said yesterday at the outset of my analysis of that Buffalo-Denver game that was the toughest game for me to handicap. This New England-Houston game is the second toughest game for me to handicap because the advantage that Houston has might be compromised by the stupid weather. So I don't know what to do. And what I'm doing in the face of not knowing what to do is going back to Old Faithful, and that is the Houston unders. And I'm taking a Houston under in one specific situation. I'm saying that this first half is going to be under 20.5 points. Houston road games are 8-1 to the first half under. They average just under 15 points. Both of these defenses are coming off of elite performances, a combined 9 points between what Pittsburgh was able to do and the Chargers. We should say unable to do 9 points combined. And I just think that we're going to have a feeling out process here. This is Drake May facing a defense. Now, that was the handicap last week. What is Drake May going to do in the face of a defense like the Chargers that is opportunistic, that's pretty fast? This Houston defense is a whole nother animal on a whole nother level, unless it snows and everybody's sliding around. So who the hell knows? What I do know is that these offenses both want to establish the run. Let's just get through a nice, clean first half where the offense is trying to establish a run. Under 20.5 in the first half is my play.
Okay, from one first half play to another Raheem Palmer. You're feeling a first half play as well. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I'm struggling with this game as well, but I'm going to go with the Houston Texans first half plus 1.5. We had the Houston Texans money line on the first half last week, so I'm going to go back to the well. Texans been getting off to a fast start this year, 12-5 straight up in the first half, and I think their defense could be a shock to the Patriots system. I mean, we spoke about this all year long. The Patriots only played 2 games against teams with a winning record all year long, 3 if you include last week against the Chargers, and we know that this Texans defense is for real. They're first in EPA per play against the pass, and you're talking about a defense with a ferocious pass rush. I know there's some weather issues out there, but I still think they're going to cause some problems for Drake May. Let's consider what the Texans defense have done this year. They've held Matthew Stafford and the Rams to 14 points. They've held the Chiefs to 10 points. They held Daniel Jones and the Colts when they were high and mighty to 16 points. So with this pressure rate that they're getting on teams, I think that Drake May, I know they've been living off explosives all year long. That's not going to happen today. And I think in the first half, I think the Texans, they get off to a fast start. Maybe they're winning by 3 or so. So I'm going to take the Texans first half plus 1.5.
Sally, it was a rough Saturday for us. No sugarcoating it. Buffalo did not treat us kindly. Even though our Ringer 107 parlay, which miraculously hit Raheem. It's amazing. We actually decided to do a parlay for the first time, Joe House, and we're batting 1,000. So maybe we should have been doing parlays all season long. But Sal, let's change the vibe here, buddy boy. I need a winner. What's the winner?
I know. Listen, and I'm not looking forward to this game. By the way, this should have switched. This should have been the early Saturday game, and Bills Denver should have been early Sunday. And then we would have gotten rid of this, and I wouldn't have been so emotional going into tonight's podcast. But I'm going to take Houston plus 3.5. And to say that the league needs the Patriots here is the understatement of all understatements, right? Jarrett Stidham against C.J. Stroud. You're going to lose some casual fans. I think people are going to start their Christmas shopping early for next year. That said, I'm staying true to my pick, plus 3.5. I'm going to treat it as if the weather is not going to matter because most of the time it doesn't, even though everyone makes a big deal out of it. I do think it's going to be an ugly game. Stroud broke his streak, albeit against the Steelers, for road playoff losses last week. So he's on the board now with the win. He's going to have to do better. He can't obviously turn it over like he did last week. But I do think Woody Marks is going to be the key in this game. He had gone for at least 70 yards in 2 of his past 3 games, 112 against Pittsburgh, and now up against New England's 25th ranked run defense. But a bet for Houston is a bet on their defense, as Joe House said. Number 1 total defense, number 1 scoring defense. They're all over the ball. They have 4 guys with 4+ interceptions, second highest pressure rate in the league at 42%. So it's going to be tough for Drake maybe to figure out D'Amico Ryans and Matt Burke's defense. They've won 10 in a row. They've covered 6 of the last 8. I wouldn't take any fewer than 3 or 3.5 as it is now, but I am grabbing here. I think it's close. I'm going to say 19-17, gobbling up the 3.5 points.
Sal, I know we've been in the spirit of charity, and I know you're taking the 3.5 points. That's great. Guess what? You ain't going to need them, buddy boy. It's over. It's over for Drake May and the New England Patriots on Sunday because they are stepping up in weight class, baby. This Houston Texan defense is as ferocious as it gets. And I know we're concerned about the snow. You know what? Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, Al-Shaair, those corners, they're as good as it gets. Now, I get the concern with C.J. Stroud, who stunk last week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he should count his lucky stars that the Steeler offense was so inept they couldn't take advantage. Now, a lot of people are going to look at no Nico Collins. Oh, how are the Texans going to move the ball? Let's consider C.J. Stroud. One of his best games, if not his best game of the year, was without Nico Collins when he torched the San Francisco 49ers. I think it's been a great year for Mike Vrabel, a great year for Drake May. They were fortunate to win last week because the Charger offense was so embarrassing and so pathetic. It kind of overshadows the fact that New England didn't exactly light the world on fire. Charger defense is good. This Texan defense is next level. They're getting to the AFC title game. I've been riding them for the last 8 weeks. And like the Cowboys do down in Texas, I'm going to ride them till I can't ride them no more, baby. Texans, money line, the hell with the points. And Sal, you're going to be in a good mood doing this. Guess the Lines podcast later on this evening.
That would be nice. I think you jinxed it by inadvertently inserting the word Cowboys in there with your pick. So I wish you could redo that.
Are we all going to get fired if the Texans win?
No, it's called. We are a welcoming, diverse, fair workplace. Raheem Palmer.
Okay.
This is not a dictatorship. Come on. We wouldn't have that at the Ringer or at Spotify, would we? I don't think so. Anyway, coming up next, Billy Gill, who's new to the party. He's a great new colleague at the Ringer. He's a fantastic guy. We talk Miami Dolphins football. He's doing Ringer Tailgate. He's doing NFL with Shield. He's been pretty busy over these last few months. He wants to give us a guest pick. Is he going to take sides against this family or another family? Find out.
Hello, Ringer Sunday pregame. It's me, Billy Gill. I know you're thinking, Texans, Patriots. Who is more qualified at this company to talk about this game than me? A lifelong Dolphins fan whose sports fandom and football has been ruined by the Patriots for 20 plus years. Am I bitter? No. Well, I guess you'll find out in a couple seconds. So, you know me, I stick to the numbers. So I started looking into this game. The Houston Texans, AFC team that allowed the fewest points this season, versus the New England Patriots, the AFC team that scored the most points this season. You know what that means? Something's got to give. Furthermore, Houston Texans have never won a Sunday playoff game. CJ Stroud has never won a Sunday playoff game. And you know who else has never won a Sunday playoff game? Drake May. You know what that means? Something's got to give. And when I look at my models, when I look at my analytics, my metrics, when you have two things that got to give, everything, all the numbers point to 90% of the time the home team covers and wins that game. So be like me, follow the numbers, follow the models, follow the metrics, follow the analytics. Take the Patriots -3 over the Texans. Back to you.
Sal, clearly Billy wanted to take sides with a certain family, and it wasn't our family, Sal.
First of all, amateur move. Line's 3.5 now. Sorry, Bill, you're not getting 3. And also, he seems a little nervous about. He sounds like someone who didn't get his first paycheck yet from Spotify. He's just keeping it real.
Hey, listen, you know what we do around here? We pick against the Patriots, and it hasn't gone particularly well throughout the course of this year.
Know.
You know, it's funny. I feel like I was taking them, Raheem, a lot in the early mid-portion of the year. Like, they had that upset win over the Bills. I was on them. I remember I took them against Carolina. And then at, like, the end of the year, I'm like, oh, the reckoning's coming. The reckoning's coming. Buck game, take it right in the face. That Raven game, take it right in the face. Chargers last week. I need my vengeance, Stream. I need it.
I don't know if it's going to come. I hope it does, though.
Well, let's be honest. They win this game. You could pencil them in. Here's a question.
I remind everybody, JJ gave out Houston Texans 25-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Sure did. Sure did. And we want to keep that ticket alive going into next week. Here's the million-dollar question. You guys have this big Holy Cross trip coming up in a couple of weeks. Is that going to be an altered Holy Cross trip if the New England Patriots find themselves in Santa Clara?
No, I think there are flights from Boston to San Francisco that the sports guy could find himself.
That is also true. He can finagle. Yeah. When there's a will, there's a way. And I don't know what his luck is, good or bad, with the Patriots being in a. Were you ever at a Super Bowl with him for the Patriots, Sal?
I was there for the week for the big one. Yeah. I mean, it's not fun. Obviously, they win almost all of them.
No, not when they play the Giants.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't there for those,
just got to get Tom Coughlin, Eli Manning, put him in the building, and then you got nothing to worry about. You know, then you got nothing to worry about. All right, boys, let's get to some player props in this game. Sal, you know what I need? A whole lot of Houston Texans sacks. Does that mean we're going to take advantage with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson?
I will take advantage of those two, Danielle Hunter, or as our producer Jack in the rundown called him, Danielle. I'm not going to do it. It's Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson over 1.75 sacks. You get plus 125 for that. These two, Batman and Robin, Lilo and Stitch, Thelma and Louise, Joe House and Hotel Lubricants, they are perhaps the best bookend edge rushers in the game. I'm taking them over 1.7 sacks. Now, I know you could shop this and get it for 1.73 or 7.4. 2 sacks and I win. That's the bottom line. They had 4 against the Steelers, the team. Sheldon Rankins had 1.5 of those, including the one that dropped the hammer. But Will Anderson had a 0.5 sack. But I like them as a duo to combine for 175. They racked up 27 sacks this season, the two of them. New England allows close to 3 a game. That's 25th in the league. Drake maybe got dumped 5 times last week against the Chargers. Let's do this. Over 1.75, Anderson and Hunter, and let's all root for this together so we can eventually see Josh Dobbs, who actually gives New England a chance to win.
Like the sound of that, especially with those 2 elite level pass rushers. Maybe not the idea of seeing Josh Dobbs. I want to see Drake May for 4 quarters. I just want to see Houston take care of business. Now, Joe House, a week ago, we targeted and pinpointed Drake May and Justin Herbert as guys that should be able to exceed their rushing totals. And for May specifically, we were talking about someone that was playing in their first postseason game. You see the inexperienced quarterback, if they are athletic, rely on their legs that much more. Are we going to see a similar script against the best pass rush that the league has to offer?
Well, I'm betting on it. It's basically the flip side of what the cousin Sal just laid out in terms of the pressure that Houston's going to bring. And it's very complimentary, I think, to cousin Sal's play. So why don't we just play both? I have Drake May going over 37.5 rushing yards, and as a bonus, over his longest rush of 13.5 yards. What we watched last week, that Monday night against Pittsburgh, was very instructive. There were many times that Aaron Rodgers and his 42-year-old legs had pathways to advance the football by running it, and he chose not to, probably wisely because he would have gotten annihilated. Not the case with Drake May. 6th in scramble EPA per dropback this season. Houston ranked second to last in that category. The Texans will be getting so much pressure all day long that he'll be forced to move. We'll see him moving in the pocket, outside the pocket, and that defense, because of how great their man coverage is, there is some room for a quarterback to get out and get running. He's run for at least 25 yards in half his games and 40 or more yards in a third of his games. We're talking about Drake May here. And he just ran 10 times for 66 yards, including a 37-yard run last week. We're going to go ahead and play both of these. Drake May is going to be running early and often, gentlemen.
Like the sound of that, Raheem, this is now becoming a staple on these postseason shows. You identifying a certain field goal kicker, and you try to capitalize. Here we go again, buddy.
Yes, we've hit 3 of these already. You guys know from the past, Harrison Barnes was my guy. Well, not Harrison Barnes. Harrison Butker was my guy. So we're going to go with the Houston Texans. 2+ made field goals, -170. You'd be hard-pressed to find a Texans game where the kicker hasn't made multiple field goals this year. You know, Chris Carter, all he did was catch his touchdowns. Well, the Houston Texans, all they do is kick field goals because there's only been 2 games this entire season where the Texans haven't made more than 2 field goals. Last week against the Steelers, we know the Steelers, they suck. And then week 3 against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the field goal kicker, he missed a 50-yarder. So besides that, the Texans, they have made multiple field goals in every single game this season. They are 29th in red zone touchdown percentage, only converting 47% of their red zone trips to touchdowns. A lot of those are field goals. So Houston Texans, 2+ made field goals is -170. I know people will look at the juice and say, all right, this is so juicy. This should be -400. So that's where I have it priced at. -400, -300 range. Bet this one. Hopefully we're going for 4 straight.
Sal, I can't take Mike Gesicki. I can't take Dawson Knox. So you know what I'm going to do in this Texan Patriot game? Dalton Schultz. Yes, I love the tight end, number 1. But number 2, I think the way to attack the New England Patriots defense is expose the linebackers that are not any good in coverage. And that, to me, is where you're going to see Dalton Schultz, without Nico Collins, be able to go and have success. We saw a lot of Christian Kirk if you go back to the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, Christian Gonzalez, one of the best corners in the league. I think he's going to go and lock down Kirk. Therefore, middle of the field, more open, more opportunities I think C.J. Stroud looks to his blankie. You know, Linus holds the blankie and Charlie Brown and the Peanuts gang. Dalton Schultz going to be his blankie in this game, boys. Give me 40-plus receiving yards, basically at even money. That sounds like a winner. Okay, there are futures. There are these specials. You can get on board with any of these teams and try to draw and find a direct correlation. Raheem, you know where I stand on this one. I got my Texans Super Bowl bet. I got my exacta with the team that we're going to talk about in our next segment. So I'm already signed, sealed, delivered as far as this goes. Is there anything on the specials board you considered?
Well, I think you have to look at two. Obviously, with the injury to Bo Nix, I think that kind of gives whoever wins today's game between the Texans and the Patriots a bye. So you look at the Patriots right now, they're plus 440 to win the Super Bowl, and the Texans are plus 750. So depending on who you like in this matchup, I would just take one of those. I think like whoever wins this game is definitely going to win next week. It would surprise me if Jarrett Stidham found a way to win this game and the Broncos went to a Super Bowl. I mean, like, I know Nick Foles did it back in like 2017 or whatever, but I just don't see that happening. So that's where I'm looking.
I must say that Bronco to lose in the AFC title game bet, it's looking better and better and better.
Wow.
Yeah, I wish, that was from yesterday. I wish it wasn't coming in the context it's coming in, though. I don't want, Bo Nix with a busted ankle is the reason that we hit that bet. But I'm kind of going back to that, another stage of elimination bet. And the way this is lining up, Dream made a nice case here for the Texans. I have the Texans losing in the Super Bowl in the stage of elimination. That's plus 470. That is far superior to just betting the Texans to win the AFC, which right now on the FanDuel Sportsbook is plus 250. So if you think they're going to win and then go into the Super Bowl and lose to one of these NFC West teams, which is what I think is the most likely outcome, then plus 470 is a good price. It's far superior to plus 250 for them to win the AFC. And, you have to have a perspective on how today goes. But at plus 470, it's a good bet, I think.
Now, Sal, I can't believe you're about to suggest what you're about to suggest, considering where we were at the beginning of this NFL season. You want action on a Drake May Super Bowl MVP ticket? Really?
I'm throwing in the towel. I'm Duke and Rocky 4. I got it. I've seen enough. I have to
Throw
do
the
it.
damn towel!
Drake May, Super Bowl MVP, plus 500. Listen, someone in the NFL league office or wherever the script is written is just trying to kill me with all this Patriots crap, right? Mickey Mouse schedule, Chargers without an offensive line, Texans now in a snow globe, Jared effing Stidham. It's all too much. I've given my life to this sport. Now the powers that be at the NFL are going to take it. Well, you win. At least when I stroke out on February 8th, I'll have something to leave my family. Drake May, Super Bowl MVP, plus 500. Let's just get it over with.
Wow, I never thought we'd be living in this world. Boys, we have so much more to do in this loaded divisional round edition of the Ringer Sunday pregame. The Rams, the Bears in Chicago. Is the reckoning finally coming for Chicago? We'll find out coming up next.
Texans at Patriots. Patriots are 3-point favorites in this game. You and I have a streak, Austin. We've just somehow discussed the Houston Texans on every podcast we've done together all season long. I don't know why. I don't know. It's the timing. Something weird happens where every time you're on, the Texans are in the news. So now we get a little temperature check, how you're feeling about this Houston team. Will they finally get over the hump and reach the AFC Championship? What do you got here?
I've got another flip-flop here because I remember last week on this pod, I was doubting the Patriots. I said maybe next year. And after that, and I said this on the pod, if they beat the Chargers, I think a lot of people will really quickly say, oh my God, the offensive line's terrible. They got to fire Greg Roman, like just an easy matchup for the Pats and like blah, blah, blah. That was an impressive win for me. I thought that the defense had a phenomenal game plan. You saw after the game that Chargers players were going up to Patriots linebacker Robbie Spillane, and we're like, we had no idea what defense you're running. Meanwhile, me and you sitting on the couch, like, they're blitzing again. And like still like Chargers were completely lost.
Yeah.
I thought that was an impressive defensive game plan from for the Pats. And then offensively, yeah, it was like a shaky Drake May game. Like the biggest Pats fan's going to tell you, like that was not his best performance. But I still feel like in the second half specifically, stepped up huge. That dime to the tight end in the corner to like really separate them. I still feel like as a scrambler too. Like you're going to see him unlock that in the playoffs, kind of similar to where Mahomes is, right? Where Mahomes gets to the playoffs, he starts scrambling a little bit more. I think you're going to feel that with Drake May as well. I think his over-under for rushing in this game is like in the 30s, and I think it could even be an over. I'm on the Patriots this week, and my title is Stroud of Darkness. And, we talked about two games featuring quarterbacks, Bo Nix and Sam Darnold. In both games, I'm kind of coming out like those guys have been bozos in big spots previously. Where like when you're talking about the weaknesses of the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks, everyone kind of in the back of their head or even in their stomach is like, well, Sam Darnold could lose this for us, or Bo Nix could lose this for us. I don't think is Stroud one of those guys, right? And it's always hard to figure out when the lights are brightest and everything's on them, they need to figure it out. Who are those quarterbacks and kind of shrink? I feel like going to that Steelers game, Stroud was trying to lose that game, like actively trying to lose that game. Some of those like bad snaps, I felt like were handleable by him. He was keeping his eye off the ball. I think he was not protecting the football when under pressure. Yeah. I don't know if I have faith in CJ Stroud being the guy on the other side of the ball that captains them over the hump against a very good Patriots team in Foxborough. And it's going to be cold. It's going to be gross.
Yeah, this is such a tough one. I'm with you. Stroud at halftime of that game last week, I was like, this is the worst quarterback performance we've seen all weekend.
Terrible.
Is from CJ Stroud. I mean, what is happening here? The fumbled snaps and then fumbling after he recovers the snaps and then an interception in the red zone. And then even turnovers aside, inaccuracies in the first half. I mean, they were mentioning that over and over again on the broadcast. Now, he did settle down a bit and he
Welcome back. A loaded Ringer Sunday pregame, getting you ready for part 2 of the divisional round. It was all New England and Houston in hour number 1. As we move forward, it's now the nightcap in the windy city of Chicago. The Los Angeles Rams with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, and trade secrets from Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers, laying 3.5 against this never say die Bears team that keeps finding ways to win and keep finding ways to drive me absolutely insane. So there's a lot of narratives here. There's a lot of sizzle, because you're either going to have Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams in their first NFC title game in quite some time, or we're going to find ourselves, boys, with a rematch of maybe the game of the year in the NFL between the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. Sal, I know where you stand on this game. We have futures. We're invested. There's no getting around it. There's no beating around the bush. Are we going to live to die another day?
I think we are. I mean, listen, I'm not taking the Bears here, but I do need to mention that the Bears special, formerly known as the Steelers special, pays plus 1,000, and that is opponent to win first half and Bears to win the game. It happened 6 times this year, so you would be up like plus 48 units or something crazy. That's it. I'm not taking the Bears. Rams are the team here. I think there are 3 playoff teams who are kind of doing this with smoke and mirrors. The Steelers were one of them. The 49ers were another. And the Bears. Steelers in San Francisco gone. It's time to get rid of the third. And now makes as much sense as any of the others. Here's a fun trend. Since 2002, teams after coming back from 10-plus down in the playoffs are just 8-22 straight up in their next playoff game, including 5-15 straight up in any round before the Super Bowl. And I heard it all loud and clear. Matthew Stafford in the cold, 1-9 record, 16 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Temperatures could be like 10 degrees, and I'm not buying it. He's still a proven winner. He played well at the Eagles in this round last year, and this Bears secondary is soft and was extremely soft in the first half last week. Stafford, 3 touchdown passes last week, 3 or more in 3 of the last 4. He went for 457 against that Seattle defense. We watched him with our mouths open for 3 hours, that defense yesterday. Jordan Love torched the Bears. He had 4 touchdowns last week. Purdy had 3 in that Sunday night game. The Bears are going to score their points too, because the Rams defense and worse off special teams are nothing to write home about. But I'm going to put this in the 30-23 range, JJ. Rams win and cover and head rubber match. Let's do it. Seattle. It's going to be a fun one.
So I'm also very invested in this game because I have very juicy tickets on the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm very bitter and I'm very salty about what the Chicago Bears have done to me in a couple of these games, specifically the game that we watched last week between the Bears and the Green Bay Packers. And I want to go back a week ago, fellas, and I wanted to attack the narrative of an alternate spread in a Texan-Steeler game. That ended up working out rather well. I'm going to try to do the exact same thing with this Rams-Bears game because I'll be the first to admit, and Raheem knows this full well, if this is a 3-point game with 2 minutes to go and Caleb Williams and the Bears have the ball, because of all of the insane Bears voodoo that we have seen throughout this year, I'm going to expect Chicago to win. So, to me, the script for the Rams going into Chicago and winning the game is winning with margin, being able to run the football, which I think they can do effectively, being able to execute in the red zone with those two receivers, which I believe they will be able to do. And I just think the inconsistencies of Caleb Williams will come home to roost in this particular matchup. So, yeah, I'm on the Rams. Yeah, I'm taking them 3.5 like Sal, but I'm going more alternate spreads. Give me plus 200 on the Rams at minus 9.5. Hey, go win the game by 2 scores, and I'm getting a 2-to-1 payout. I'm playing the Rams at 3.5. I'm playing them at 6.5. I'm playing them at 9.5, and I hope that I'm going to have myself one hell of a Sunday night. So, House, you know I love these alt spreads. I don't want to deal with a close game because a close game is going to scare the crap out of me. The Bears, kryptonite in many ways for a whole lot of gamblers. Some, they've loved every minute of it. How do you want to attack this one?
Yeah, I feel like I've learned my lesson, and I share your lack of enthusiasm for a close game down the stretch. But we've just watched this Bears team too many times in the second half. I mean, what LaFleur and the Packers did last week to aid and abet that Bears comeback. Congratulations to LaFleur on his extension. Let's see if it goes beyond this season. If he survives it. But look, what do we know about the Bears? They fall behind. They've allowed nearly 13 first half points against, and even worse in their last 3 games, 62 total first half points in the past 3 games. I'm trying to get in and get out with this bet. I'm playing the Rams first half team total over 13.5 points. What do we know about the Rams? McVay will script up at least one great opening drive. Los Angeles, third best in first half offense, averaging over 15 points per first half. Rams 12-7 to the over on their first half team total. I love the Rams getting 14 points. Let me get this bet done, and then I'll just sit back and watch this second half with an adult beverage or 3 and enjoy whatever the hell befalls us.
I like the sound of that, Joe House. The adult beverage combined with a whole lot of points for the Los Angeles Rams. Sign me up. I love the sound of it. Raheem, House likes 14 points or more for the Rams in the first half. You want to take a step further. You're feeling a high-scoring game, despite the fact it's going to be quite frigid in Chicago.
Yeah, so this total was 50.5, and it dropped down to 48.5 due to the weather. I'm going to zig and zag and play the over 48.5 because I just think this is way too low. I think this should be around 54, even with the cold weather out there. I mean, you're looking at both the number 1 and number 7 offenses in explosive pass play rate. And more importantly, if you look at both of these defenses, both of them are completely suspect. If you remove turnover-worthy plays, turnover plays, the Chicago Bears defense is 30th in EPA per play allowed. So they can't stop a nosebleed. But then if you look at the Rams, they're really struggling on defense as well. Like, I don't think that they've had a game that has gone under 51 in 7 straight games. Like, they've allowed some straight-up anemic offenses to score at will. You look at the Carolina Panthers, they put up 31 points. You look at the Arizona Cardinals, even they put up 20 points, and everybody was in the hospital. You look at Atlanta, they put up 27. Seattle, 38. Detroit, 34. So offenses can score against them. So I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. I've been playing the Bears a lot. This is the one week I'm not going to play the Bears. I'm kind of just going to wait and see. But honestly, I would not be surprised if the Bears win this outright. I think Sal has it the right way. 10-1 on the Rams to win the first half and the Bears to win the second half. So that's the direction I'm leaning. But I'm playing over here. I'm looking for points, and I think they're going to come.
Sal, I think I have to get on board with that ticket, despite the fact that I do not like Chicago at all in this game. And I think the Rams are going to win comfortably. The script has happened so much, and you're giving me 10-1. I guess the only way I get into trouble here is if this game is like tied, let's say, going into the locker room.
Yeah.
But that hasn't been the case for the Bears. They're down in all these games, and then they find a way to come back.
Yeah, well, it's all a matter of how much you want to hate yourself at the end of the day, right? You cover yourself a little bit by, you like the Rams, and if the Bears do it again, you're like, oh my God, how did I not have 10-1 on this? So, yeah, I got to cover it, though. I already hate myself. I'm probably like an 8 on the scale, how much I hate myself. So, got to cover myself a little bit here.
Fair enough. Okay, our buddy Show Kapadia, who is probably dealing with the misery and the sadness of Eagle fans after the defending champs get knocked off by the San Francisco 49ers. And then they watch the San Francisco 49ers get completely annihilated by Seattle. So I'm sure that sat well with a whole lot of the folks in the city of brotherly love. Well, Shield, between Philly Special, Ringer NFL, he's been a very busy man, but not too busy because he was able to chime in and give us a play. Long overdue. Shield, buddy boy, take it away.
What's up, Ringer Gambling crew? I have a fun one for you for Rams Bears. We are looking at the fourth quarter total and going over 13.5 points. I love this one because I don't believe in the Bears defense. I think the Rams are going to move the ball. The Rams are going to score. And then on the other side, you know what team scored more fourth quarter points than any other in the NFL this season, right? Of course, it's the Chicago Bears. We watch it every single week. We watched it last week. We watched it during the regular season. This is great because game script doesn't matter. If it's a blowout, it can still hit. You got one team trying to go no huddle and score a couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And guess what? If it's a close game, then you know it's going to hit with these two teams and these two quarterbacks. So here's what you do. You sit back, you relax, you enjoy your other bets for the first three quarters, knowing that you got this one in the bag, fourth quarter total over 13.5 points. All right, Ringer Gambling crew, enjoy the games.
Good stuff, Shield. It's prop time, boys. And I feel like this is the game you want to get on board with the props. Raheem, if we get ourselves a high-scoring game, obviously this can be fun and advantageous, and we could have a whole lot of fun here. So I'll give you the T-box. You're feeling points. What's the prop that we should get on board with?
I'm going to go with Puka Nacua, over 7.5 receptions. If you look at what he's averaging this year, he's averaging 10 targets a game. And then last week, he had 18 targets for 10 receptions and 111 yards. I already mentioned about the Bears being 30th in EPA per play if you remove turnovers. We know that Matthew Stafford looks at Puka Nacua's way any and every time he can. So let's go over 7.5 receptions. I think he gets this easy. He might even get this in the first half.
He's been an absolute beast. He's unguardable, and he went off in that first half against the Carolina Panthers, despite the fact that he could have had a third touchdown that he dropped right before we went to the locker room, and that was significant as far as the point spread is concerned. But hey, what's done is done. Nacua will probably go off again in this game. But House, there's another receiver for the Rams who came back from injury and looked a little sluggish, but started to show serious signs of life in the second half. That, of course, is Davante Adams. You think he's going to piggyback off what he did in that second half against the Panthers and really get going against the team he's had a whole lot of success against?
Yeah, that's part of the handicap for sure. But I also subscribe to Dream's analysis that this is an overplay, an over game with lots of opportunities. And I have a complimentary play. Puka can have his 8 catches. I need Davante just to get to 55 receiving yards. He might get there in 2 catches. He had 13 targets last week in his first game returning from injury, 5 catches, 72 yards, and that was against a zone-heavy scheme. But here's the thing. Chicago secondary, they play man, and my guy Davante eats up man. Among the very best in the NFL man-to-man, LA's top downfield threat, averaging 24 air yards per reception. The Bears limit yards after the catch, but they get beat over the top. Third most air yards, second most explosive pass plays. Let my guy Davante Adams get out there. I think it could only take two catches for him to get to 55. That's my favorite play.
Fellas, this is going to sound crazy because I'm not looking at one Los Angeles Rams running back. I'm looking at two of them, and I'm going to parlay their success together. I think both Kyren Williams and Blake Corum are going to have significant roles in this game. And normally you look at it and you'd say, JJ, you sure you want to go with 50-plus rushing yards for one guy and 40-plus rushing yards for the other? But if you watch the Rams and you realize the way Sean McVay uses his running backs, he gets both guys involved in the action. I think the Rams are going to be able to run on the Chicago Bears. I think it's going to be a big part of the script in this game. And Raheem, I'm with you. I think the Rams are going to score a lot of points. House, I think it's going to be advantageous for you for your first half bet. But let's take Kyren Williams to get over 50-plus rushing yards. The Michigan product, Blake Corum, who's been really good these last few weeks, 40-plus rushing yards. You parlay them together, it's plus 120, and it sounds like a winner. Now, Sal, Raheem gave out a Ram prop. House gave out a Ram prop. I gave out, I guess, 2 Ram props because they gave out 2 Ram players. You got to give us a bear, clearly. Who's going to be?
Sure, why not? Because even if you like the Rams like I do, there's plenty of props, positive props that you can find for the Bears here. Colson Loveland, another Michigan product there, JJ. 6+ receptions, pays plus 102. He's really come around when it counts here. Remember when everyone crushed the Bears for passing on Tyler Warren? Apologize for that right now. JJ, apologize. You start. No, I don't even know if it was you. I don't know.
No, it might have been because I love Tyler Warren. I'm a Penn State guy. What can I say? They're my second school, so you're right.
Yes, but I'm going to go 6+ for Loveland. He's had at least 6 the last 3 games. He's actually had 24 over that span. The Rams are bottom half in receptions allowed to tight ends, and we get it already. Caleb Williams lights it up in the second half. He's going to shine that light on Colson Loveland, former Wolverine Cassius, 6+ grabs.
Okay, cross-board, future, special. Feel like House, this should be renamed forever the Josh Jacobs Award. Can we do that now, Jack, moving forward because of our buddy's contribution going back to Wildcard Weekend? House, are you okay if we name this portion of the show, like for the rest of postseasons for years to come, the Josh Jacobs Award?
I mean, go ahead. It's fine. I can live. I'll take the L there, and it was a giant L. You know what
okay,
that giant
like,
L starts
it's
with?
one of those that builds character. You know, you got to like just embrace
it.
It.
LaFleur. They tried an interior run concept that they couldn't get off. The guy just ran into Bears all goddamn day long. It's fine. I'm over it. And it was right. We were just taking a shot. It was the implied probability of that thing was less than 20% of getting home anyways. I'm still mad at LaFleur and the Packers for choking that one away. But look, I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of a parlay here because I like the idea of, in this season of unpredictability across the board in the NFL, that we end up with a Final Four of 1 seeds against 2 seeds. And so I'm just going to parlay my way into that. And just for S's and giggles, why don't we just put in Indiana from the college championship tomorrow night? Patriots win on the money line. Bears win on the money line. That guarantees you a 1 seed against a 2 seed in conference championship ball. And then Indiana plus 450 on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now. It's been a very bizarre NFL season. Why wouldn't it just end with perfect chalk going into the Super Bowl?
Okay, speaking of chalk, I'll give you some, but that's coming up in a little bit. Sal, you want to get on board with a running back? The Josh Jacobs annual tradition? Is that it? You want to get on the Josh Jacobs with Kyren Williams?
I mean, House jinxed it, but I'm going to jinx it too. I have Williams 200+ rushing yards in the playoffs. Yesterday, I did Khalil Shakir to amass 200+ yards in the playoffs. He needed 118 yesterday. You know what he did? He got 75, and I'm hearing they're eliminated. So that is that. This one's a little easier in the FanDuel specials. Williams, 200+ rushing yards for the entirety of the playoffs. He had 57, so he needs 143. Chicago 27th in the league versus the run. If they allow 132+, well, that's what their average is. Williams probably won't get that many, but in a winning effort, he'll come close, and then he'll get the rest in Seattle. So give me Kyren Williams, 143 in the next 2 games at plus 115.
Fellas, you want chalk? I'm giving you chalk. I made this bet as soon as lines came out on, what was it, Sunday night or Monday, whenever it was. I think maybe it was even Saturday. I don't even remember. No, it had to be Sunday. The bottom line is this. We're taking the Rams in Indiana, and I got this at plus 100. It's still at minus 105. I think it's a great play. If you like the Rams, then just go and get the Indiana Hoosiers to win a game. Mendoza, Signetti, the entire state of Indiana has infiltrated Miami, Florida, trying to find their way to this national championship because it's like hell freezing over the idea of the Indiana Hoosiers, a basketball school, winning the college football playoff. Sounds like insanity, except it's not insanity. Rams, Hoosiers, even money, let's go. It's chalk. It's going to win. And on that note, guys, we do have a national championship game on Monday night. Indiana.
Before we get there,
yes.
I just got one that just popped into my head.
Okay, well, share, please.
Yeah, we're talking cross-sport parlays. A lot of you guys like the Rams. If you get the Rams at plus 310 to win the Super Bowl, you parlay that with the Dodgers at plus 220. That pays 12 to 1. So you can go LA.
Oh, man.
Parlay 12 to 1. I mean, they got Kyle Tucker. We know that they're probably going to be in the World Series. So if you just want to just throw $100 on this and come back to it a year from now,
it's a good investment. I'm not going to fight you on that, Raheem. It's a good investment. I'm not rooting for it, though, because I've not seen a three-peat in my life in Major League Baseball since the glorious late 90s New York Yankees in 98 against the Padres, the Braves in 1999. Sal, you want to remind everybody who the Yankees beat in 2000?
I don't remember. I was in a coma that year.
Not at all. Benitez, O'Neill, Luis Soho, Allider. I could go on and on. Thank you for that, Raheem. That put me in a good mood.
Good going, Raheem.
Yeah, sorry, bud. Sorry. National championship game. This line is skyrocketed. I mean, you saw 7s, then 7.5s, then 8, then 8.5. Nobody wants to get in the way of the runaway freight train that is Signetti, Mendoza, and this unreal Indiana team. Sal, we were on Oregon. We watched that game for like 5 minutes, and we said, oh, my goodness, what did we do? Do you have the same feeling going into this game with Oregon that you do for Miami?
Slightly less here because, first of all, the look ahead was 5.5 before Indiana had an opponent here. And now it's shot up to 8.5. And you can look at it a couple ways, right? They thrashed just about everyone. They had 12 double-digit wins, including a 94-25 run over Alabama and Oregon. I don't care if you think Alabama deserved to be there or not. 94-25 is insanity. Now, Miami, on the other side, only allowed north of 17 points twice in the last 7 games. So I'm going to take both from both trends and make a teaser here. Hoosiers and the under ends up being -2.5. Both defense play well for most of the game. Carson Beck, I think, is going to be ineffective. And then I think Hemby has a big run late. I have him score a touchdown at plus 115. Mendoza puts it away. And then he's a Raider. Sorry, dude. That's how it goes. So I think it's about 27-21. I'm going to take Hoosiers and the under on a teaser.
Dream, the line has skyrocketed, but for you, it's not high enough.
Yeah, I'm not going to say play Indiana with the 8.5, but I just think every year it just feels like consistently that there's one team that's just so much more dominant than anybody else that they can't make the numbers high enough. You go back to the Joe Burrow LSU teams. You go back to last year with Ohio State. I don't know how you step in front of this train. I think you either put Indiana in a parlay or you just completely pass. I know there's probably going to be some sharps who step in and say, look, I want to take Miami with the points, but I don't know. It just feels like you're making a donation. So I'm good.
So this might sound like I'm splitting the baby a little bit here because obviously I have this Indiana Rams parlay, and that is the bet that I really need to bring home. We'll see if the Rams cooperate and it's alive, quite frankly, going into Monday night. That said, from a spread perspective, I kind of feel like I just want to wait this baby out, and I feel like I'm going to go and snag some Miami 8.5 for 9 just because that defense is physical. We saw what they did to Texas A&M. They did a wonderful job against Ole Miss. Indiana going to go win this game again by 17 to 20 points? I feel like this is going to be a game on Monday night, dude.
I hope so. I'm rooting for a game, but I don't know. I am not going to sit here and underestimate this Indiana team. I mean, Dream kind of made the point. The reason I think it's a sound angle to grab the Miami points is just purely contrarian, just purely going against the public. Right now on FanDuel, the Hoosiers are near 80% on the spread and over 65% in percentage of bets. So, you could, as a sound better, try and grab the points, but I don't know. This is I've been on the side of Indiana laying the points consistently through these playoffs. I had Indiana at the outset of the playoffs at better than 3-1 odds, and there was a nice opportunity to grab Miami as the Final Four arrived at better than 3-1 odds. So I'm sitting on both of those tickets, and I'm just going to sit back and enjoy Monday night.
Take it from me and JJ. It is not fun rooting for Indiana's opponent. You get like one commercial break worth of game, and then that's that.
Not ideal. Not ideal. I mean, I enjoyed every minute of it, Sal, when I bet Indiana against Alabama, which was just the layup of all layups.
Sure.
But I missed the layup of all layups.
Yeah.
The Indiana-Oregon game, which, yes, was literally over from Jump Street. Okay, boys. Limited options, limited possibilities. But we got to find a way. Somehow, some way. With only 2 games here on Sunday and a select few when it comes to players. Where are we going to divert our attention and cook up a winning family meal? Let's hit the damn music. So I have to assume, boys, a whole lot of points we're thinking. Let's see it one more time. Yeah, why not? Let's see the graphic one more time. It's great.
Just keep
it looks
running
amazing. Well, better than looking at me, that's
It's
for
better
sure.
than the next couple minutes are going to offer, yeah.
Thanks. We had to go with Rams, Bears for the most part for a lot of these anytime touchdowns because we feel like there will be points in that game. We're not so sure about the touchdowns and the points in the New England-Houston game. Sal, I'm not going to go to you first because I feel like I go to you first and we lose every time. So I'm going to mix it up. Raheem,
Don't go
you're
to me
giving
at
you
all.
the T-box. I'm throwing everybody off.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kobe Parkinson. Anytime touchdown plus 220. He's caught touchdowns in 8 out of 15 games. He's a security blanket. It's either him or Devontae Adams catching the touchdowns in the red zone. I'm going to go with Kobe Parkinson just because of the price. This comes in the form of my world famous jerk chicken. You want to check out my Instagram story? I got some jerk chicken on there. I made it. Chef Boy Art to the. Y'all know how it's going down. Kobe Parkinson.
Look at you.
Who knew Raheem, a man of many talents, cooking up meals now?
Is it up there
I mean,
now?
can you
look
get
at the
some
jerk
stuff
chicken?
for me next time I'm in
Hey,
Vegas?
Nostradamus, you
Hold
go
on,
into
let
the
me get this.
story,
I'm going.
you can see
Yeah.
my world famous
going.
jerk chicken. It's
Let me
something
see
I
this
mastered. I might bring some for the Ringer crew next time I'm in LA.
Yeah, about damn time. Thank you. House, I'll let you enjoy checking out Raheem's jerk chicken as you scroll through Instagram. Sal, who do we got for an anytime touchdown?
House and the jerk. Forget it. I'm not going to say it. Puka Nakua, minus 115. Bagels and locks, JJ. I'm offering the family bagels and locks because this is the lock of all locks. Nakua to hit pay dirt. You may remember, I don't know, 7, 8 days ago. 7, 8. Can we make that a thing? I gave out Nakua to score 2 touchdowns. That happened. That paid plus 600. He's on fire. He scored in 4 straight games, 6 touchdowns over that stretch. He catches, he runs. He can probably even throw it to himself, but he doesn't have to because he has the MVP of the NFL doing that for him. Let's go, Puka. Get us started on our quest to go 4-0. Come on. Bagels and locks, baby.
So it's going to sound crazy looking at this game and saying, well, how in the world are you going to have Kobe Parkinson, Puka Nakua, and Devontae Adams all go and score touchdowns? Well, Raheem, you feeling it over? I'm feeling it over too. And I know Devontae Adams did not score a week ago against the Carolina Panthers. But to House's point, and that's why he's playing the over for yards, he's come alive. Second half of that game, he was far more comfortable, far more involved in the game plan. You telling me Devontae Adams comes back and doesn't score a touchdown in consecutive weeks? Nah, family meal. Let's get right to it. Adams, anytime touchdown at minus 120. House, I have to stop your Instagram scrolling because I actually need a play from you. But whenever you're ready.
I mean, look at this chicken. Look at that chicken. Oh,
Not bad.
chicken.
Not bad.
Oh, my God.
Despite the blurry
amazing.
text that I'm
The
seeing right
chicken.
now. Oh, there
You
we go.
can see the beautiful chicken. I know you can.
I have good vision. I can.
I mean, you guys took all the Rams. I was going to play Kyron Williams. It was like 4 for 4 for Rams. Are we going to get 4 different Rams scoring touchdowns? Maybe. It's not out of the realm. But I went with the Bear. I had to choose between DeAndre Swift, who is available at plus 145 and has a very nice record of scoring touchdowns for Chicago, especially in the second half. But I landed on Colston Loveland, and Cousin Sal made a nice case for him. He is indeed Caleb's favorite target down the stretch, 6 or more receptions, more than 90 yards in 3 straight games. And with both Rome Odunze and DJ Moore still coming back a little bit, he is a security blanket. JJ talked about the Linus blanket. He is the one, Colston. He is tied for the lead in red zone targets among receivers for the Bears. So let's go ahead and let him catch one.
Fellas, let's take a look at the divisional round Sunday family meal, where you're going to see a whole lot of Los Angeles Rams love, and then a little love for Colston Loveland. Puka Nacua at even money. Colby Parkinson, which is juicing his baby up at plus 230. Loveland plus 200. And then Devontae Adams at minus 120. Man, we want a whole lot of points. We don't want an under in Rams Bears. We need points. We need touchdowns.
You know what's great, JJ? Sorry to interrupt. We can't be eliminated after the first game. I mean, that's good. That's really
thing of
good.
beauty. That's a great
When was
point.
the last time we did that? Yeah.
We can at least find our way to the nightcap. So,
yeah.
God bless America. We love the sound of that. Joe House, is there a parting thought you would have for the three of us as you are now about to go eat face-off, maybe have a couple cocktails, enjoy a snowy, rainy divisional round? I don't know what the weather is in D.C., but what is the final thought you'd like to give the wise guys?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the weather is in D.C. It's jerk chicken time. I'm going to get the hell out of here and go get some jerk chicken. You boys, enjoy what you got coming up here with Dabbundo. Please ask him the question that we all discussed offline. Somebody figure out the most polite way to ask the question. Because if I asked it, I'm glad I'm getting kicked off. I'd probably get kicked off the program permanently if I asked it the way I
know
wanted
the
to.
answer. He had a date yesterday, and the result ended in jerk chicken. For sure.
Jerk chicken. Very good.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
No doubt
You,
about it.
hey,
there's
all I'm
the
going to say
answer.
is this, as
You
the
said
esteemed
it.
host of this show, you said it, not me.
That's
all. Joe Haas, thanks for joining us. Speaking of, there is Anthony Dabbundo. He will be joining us in a matter of moments. We will recap his Saturday night in New York City. And oh yeah, the divisional round. Was it a successful Saturday for Dabbundo?
The wrist looks
Find out
wobbly.
next.
His wrist looks a little wobbly.
Rams at Bears. Bears, 3.5-point underdogs at home. Rams, I think, are second in Super Bowl odds to the Seahawks, Austin. Does the Bears season, this journey of Ben Johnson and the locker room speeches and the shirt off and bleep the Packers and does it end here, or do the Bears stay alive?
Before we get into the game, because I feel like you and I don't talk enough, like, what's your take on the reaction to Ben Johnson saying F the Packers? And then there's like people now saying like, this is Bush League and we shouldn't have coaches using the F word. I vehemently disagree. And maybe that's because I swear too much or whatever, but like, we need rivalries in the NFL. We need hatred in the NFL. And I think anything that breeds that is better for the game.
And this isn't even manufactured. Like, he's just leaning into it. He's like, the handshake at the end. He is a great villain. I love him. More of it, please. And listen, what people don't, coaches have huge egos, NFL coaches, and they all will, the press conference, say, we respect that guy and he does a great job. And then, you know what? In private, they're always thinking, I don't get enough respect. That guy gets too much respect. He has this quarterback. Look at what I'm doing here. This is what they will whisper to reporters on the side, where you'll see, so that's weird that reporter's saying that. That's how it happens. And I think there's some of that here, especially with the offensive, the young offensive wonder boys who are just like, I'm the scheme lord here in the league. Now it's my league. Now, I think that's part of it as well. It depends what coaching tree you came from, all those things. And so, I love it. I think Ben Johnson has been a fantastic story. Listen, there was a time last week where in my notes, I wrote down like, Ben Johnson's getting exposed. What a flop, but you know what? There was still a second half to be played there. So I love it.
I have to be honest. I'm rooting for the Bears here. I'm rooting for the Bears. I think
I want to ask you this before you give me your headline. Who do you think, neutral fans right now, what is the Super Bowl they are rooting for? Because I think you're right in the NFC. I'm kind of rooting for the Bears too. I think most people are like, this is a fun story. Let's get the Bears all the way. So I think it's the Bears in the NFC. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that, but what do you think the neutral fans are saying? We would love to see this Super Bowl.
I think Josh Allen and the Bills. I think Bills Rams or Bills Bears. I think that's
Bills Bears. That's it. It's Bills Bears. That's a great Super Bowl. I'm signing up for that right now.
Yeah, I think when Jacksonville was in the mix, we were like, definitely not it. I don't think people want Knicks in the Super Bowl from the AFC. I think Patriots, Rams, Patriots, Bears would be interesting too. But there's not enough. If you're a neutral fan of the NFL, you still have this hatred for the Patriots because they've been like dumped with all of this success. My dad taught me from a very young age.
Home stretch, Ringer Sunday pregame, getting you ready for divisional round part 2. Hopefully it treats me better than divisional round part 1. John Jastremski alongside cousin Sal and Raheem Palmer. And we welcome in from the studio next to me. I can take the broomstick and give him a holler if I want. Anthony Dabbundo. Dabbundo, we got a lot of plays to get to. We have a lot of astute analysis to get to. But first things first, we need the recap of your Saturday night in the big city on the town.
I texted you guys in the chat. I mean, it worked out perfectly. I mean, Seattle kind of had the game wrapped up before I even got to the bar that was hosting the party. So I didn't really feel like I needed to watch much of the second half. I went back and rewatched it this morning. Didn't feel like I learned a whole lot from it. So it worked out perfectly from a professional sense, and that I was able to enjoy some personal time.
Well, that's great.
No,
He's dancing around the question already.
That's not
I
what he's
noticed
talking
it.
about,
He's
Dabbundo.
filibustering.
Come on, you know what the question is here.
It was a strikeout, total strikeout.
Oh, man.
It's so
But when you
sad.
say stuff now, but hold on a second now. Was the expectation of success in the air or not necessarily?
No.
Let's just say there was one woman there who I've had an eye on, and I had a great conversation with. But traditionally, I struggle with the close, and I think that's where I'm really trying to work on myself.
So what you're telling me, Dabbundo, is you're a good opener, right? Like
Yes.
you're like the openers that they have in Major League Baseball. You get an inning or
Correct.
two, you're in good shape, but you know Mariano Rivera. I
No,
understand.
Right,
I
there-
think
I
he's
don't have
saying
music.
he said
Enter
he's-
Sandman doesn't exist for me.
he struggles
Doesn't
with the
happen.
clothes. He struggles what you're wearing to the party. You're saying, right, Raheem? Maybe you could help him out. The clothes or the clothes? Which clothes?
All of the clothes.
Okay, all the clothes. Good.
Oh, my God.
Dabbundo, I promise, there'll be a couple of home runs in your near distant future. There will be no more striking out. You don't strike out when you come to my city. You come and you strive for success. And speaking of striving for success, we need a whole lot of winners out of you. Let's start with a team that you love to bet. And no, I'm not talking about the Houston Texans. I'm talking about betting against the Houston Texans, scoring points for play 1 of this game, which is at 3.5. Total is at 40.5. Are we starting the proceedings, not with your Saturday night, but with a Texan under?
We are not. And if you ever want proof that bullying works, you can see how Sal has bullied me into not just coming on here and talking about how I want to bet the Texans under every single week. He's done it. He's successfully. You know, I was looking into the game and I'm like, all right, kind of like the under a little bit, but at the same time, I said, let me switch it up. So we're gonna go Houston plus 3.5 minus 118. At 3, I was ready to sit this one out. At 3.5, I'm gonna get involved. Am I excited to watch the Texans offense without Nico Collins in this game? I am particularly not excited for that. I don't know if they're gonna be able to run the ball all that well either. However, I do think that by far the best defense that New England has played this year. I still think the Patriots have absolutely benefited from playing the weakest schedule of opposing defenses all year long. I think that's been under-discussed. Everybody's talking about how bad the teams they've played have been, and Drake May's in the MVP consideration, sure, but they've played the easiest schedule of opposing defenses in the NFL this year. That's, to me, I think in this matchup, matters because of the pressure that May is going to be under. He's taken a lot of sacks. If you were to be critical of Drake May, it would be the sacks. And I think Houston will be able to get pressure and cover on the back end, take away kind of the explosive plays that have made this New England offense so good.
So I'm right there with the AD. I think Houston is going to win the game. 3.5 is great. I understand why you're taking them. Why not? Any concern, though, with the forecast? Because there's snow in the air. House kind of hinted at the idea of neutralizing that pass rush with a sloppy, messy field up at Foxborough. Is that something that changes the calculus for you or not necessarily?
Oh, certainly would. I mean, right now, field looks clear. I was trying to get the updated Twitter pictures from Foxborough, and the most recent ones say that the field is fine. They showed Will Anderson warming up, doing the classic, macho tough guy. I'm going to warm up for this game that's 20 degrees with no sleeves, in shorts, like it's a normal day in the middle of August. Mm-hmm. But I think ultimately we'll have to wait and see on that. I do think, though, from a live betting perspective, look into a snover, live over. If you see snow coming down and the conditions are getting worse, that generally impacts defense first more than it does offense. And so if you're looking into this game and you're like, all right, maybe it starts slow. Maybe it's 7-3 midway through the second quarter. And all of a sudden, we see some snow. Maybe look to grab a live over. You probably get like 34.5, much better number.
Dream, Sal's on the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Dabundo's on the Texans. I'm on the Texans. I know you didn't love a side in this game. But if there's a lean for you, New England or Houston, what's the lean? You don't have to play it, obviously, but I'm kind of curious.
At plus 3.5, I think the only play is the Texans. I think when you're looking at that hook, we know 3 comes out 15% of the time, and it's just I'm so high on the Texans defense, and I compared them to the 2000s Ravens earlier this year. I just think this is a game that they can keep close, and I think the biggest thing is last week we were all on the Chargers at 3.5. I think the Texans are better than the Chargers. And as long as C.J. Stroud doesn't beat himself, I think if I like the Chargers at 3.5, I gotta like the Texans at 3.5. But I decided to go with the first half just because I think they've been getting off to these hot starts, and I do think the defense can be a shock to the system.
Fair enough.
I'm just so not looking forward to this game from a rooting perspective, needing
Why
the
not?
Patriots to lose.
What's not to look forward to? If the Texans take care of business, come on, Sal, let's go.
They do, but it's going to be brutal. And if they do, the downside, I'm just trying to think of things I'd rather do for the next 3 hours, like DMV for sure, the root
Not
canal.
the DMV.
All
Food
of it.
shop.
What about golf?
Weekly food shop?
Sal, what about a little round at the West Drift?
No
Manhattan
doubt.
Beach.
That's pleasant. I'd rather watch Dabbundo hit on this woman that he has no chance with for 3.5 hours. There's really like 1,000 things than watch this game.
I'm looking forward to it, especially if it ends up being a winner. I'm just throwing it out there. AD, that's the one thing I kept coming back to. I had the Chargers last week. I know you had the Chargers as well. Their defense played an unbelievable game against Drake May and the New England Patriots. Texas defense much better than Charger defense, is it not?
It is certainly, and I think also, Houston, for as much as they have struggled, their offensive line has been improving throughout the course of the season. Like, I do wonder, could Houston find some success blocking New England with the 6 O-line fronts they've been using? They've gone so much heavier, tried to rely more on the deep shots. Could that be a path for them to have success offensively? And actually, I do against this New England defense. Part of the other problem with New England evaluating their defense, just how good is this secondary? They haven't played a lot of explosive offenses this year. And yes, last week, we kind of liked the Chargers, and I thought the Chargers would hold up better than they did. Herbert had a bad game. O-line couldn't block. They fell behind and got into a bad script. But Houston does still have explosiveness even without Stroud. And there's one guy that I even have my eye on that I think could have a big game in Collins' replacement.
Well, I'm glad that you teed it up that way because we need a player prop from you. This game, hard to find one. I feel like as far as the touchdown market is concerned, it was much easier in the next game that we're going to talk about. But I need one. Texans, Patriots, no Nico Collins. Who's the player to target?
Yeah, so FTN has a metric that basically looks at the quality of the coverage of a defense, which tries to get away from just results. There's there might be guys open, but if you're playing a bad offense or bad quarterbacks, they might not be able to take advantage of that. And so I was looking through trying to figure out, okay, what are the Texans going to do offensively without Collins? And I think there's 3 guys that pop up. Christian Kirk, of course, had a career game, the most yards he's ever had last week in the wildcard round win. I'm not going to overreact to one game of Christian Kirk. And so I think I settled kind of on Hutchinson. And the situation with Xavier Hutchinson, over 29.5 yards. His numbers have ticked up a little bit in the second half of the season. His numbers have also ticked up in terms of target share when Collins is not on the field. He's been pretty efficient when Collins is not on the field. It's kind of similar to me not saying, again, that Hutchinson is Nico Collins, much like I wasn't saying that Jake Tonjes is George Kittle, but the production has followed suit in a way where you can make some comparisons and say that he can give you some of what Collins was giving you. And then back to the New England defense. They are still bottom 10 in open receiver allowed rate this season. So I still think, yes, Gonzalez is playing. This defense can be had in the secondary. There are spaces to exploit. Ultimately, I'm going with Hutchinson over 29.5 as a result of that receiving yards today.
All right. Let's bring it home. I just played it. Like the sound of that. Okay. Game number 2. Rams. Bears. You know my feelings on this, AD. I'm dying to get the Bears out of here. I'm sick to my stomach what they did to me a week ago in that Packer game. You know I have a whole lot of futures tied into the Los Angeles Rams. I have a big tease with the Indiana Hoosiers that's also tied to the Los Angeles Rams. You, sir, are looking at the Rams offense, and you're feeling that it's going to be a rather successful day for Stafford and company, despite the fact it's going to be rather cold in the Windy City.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the cold. I think we've done too much cold talk this week. Look, at the end of the day, here's where I see this Bears team. They should have given up 34 points last week. They gave up 50 to San Francisco 3 weeks ago. This defense has really not been good at any point this season. And at first, it was like, okay, yeah, but they're really injured. The corners, they didn't have Jalen Johnson. They didn't have Kyler Gordon. You're saying, okay, once they get healthy, maybe they can get back to a respectable average defense. That has not happened. They are bottom 5 pressure rate, bottom 5 against the run, bottom 10 against the pass. If you remove turnovers, they're bottom 3 in efficiency. So ultimately, even with Kyler Gordon in the lineup last week, guess who was getting picked on? Kyler Gordon. Jalen Johnson has been good, but I don't think the Jalen Johnson all-pro level corner that we saw last season. And now TJ Edwards is out, and he's one of the most efficient and excellent run defending linebackers in the NFL. His absence, I think, hurts their run defense. Yes, they were great against Josh Jacobs last week, but I think it's a different challenge this week against this Rams run offense. The Rams this year are the most efficient run offense they've had in the McVay era, comparable to the 2018 Rams with Todd Gurley. So I look around and I see an offense that should have no problem scoring. And look, I'm trying to avoid the voodoo here. We've all lost to the voodoo. The Bears have had all these comebacks, and Caleb Williams has done his late game magic, and he's cost me money, division bets, wild card bet, you name it, I've lost money on it. I'm avoiding this Bears offensive voodoo at the end of the games. I'm saying that no matter what happens in this game, the Rams will score at least 28 points. Give me over 27.5. I like it this week. I am pretty excited for this game because I do think this is finally the moment that the Bears magic runs out. But if not, I'll just keep coming on next week and say the same thing.
Is this the most ignored weather trend we've seen in a long time? Like Stafford's stats are not very good. Like, right, Raheem? It's like, yeah, well, we don't care. We're going to bet Parkinson. We're going to bet Devontae Adams. We're going to bet Puka. We're going to bet Karen Williams all over. Is it only because there's a few games left or because people really don't factor the weather in anymore?
I think we're factoring the weather in the form of a snover. Like, I don't know if it's going to, I think people just look at it like, all right, like both of these defenses are just not good. So at some point in time, it's like maybe they've over-adjusted. We've gone from 50.5 to 48.5. And I think it's so funny in both games. I think people are just looking for, points.
The total opened, there was a 52.5 that opened stray, like when this first game got announced.
Mm-hmm. So,
and then it was 51.5 within a minute. Then it was 50.5, 49. It's gone down quite a bit. And honestly, if this game were played in October, knowing what we know about these teams, what would the total be? I suspect like 53.5. I mean, Niners, Bears closed 52.5 and flew over by halftime.
Right.
And one note on Stafford in the cold. Sal, he's had a lot of experience in these spots.
For sure.
Including last year in Philadelphia. And I know that game went AWOL when it started snowing in the third quarter. But then all of a sudden it stopped snowing. It was still super cold. And that Eagle defense was outstanding, as we know. Ended up winning the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford and the Rams offensively had more success against Fangio's defense than anybody else we saw in the postseason last year.
I agree. And it's not the 85 Bears. As Raheem mentioned, it's a soft middle of the defense. And, actually, Love should have actually done more with it than he did last week.
AD, despite the fact that you don't want to get in the way of the Bear voodoo, gut feel you would lay 3.5 with the Rams in this game?
We did lay 3.5, Sal and I. However,
I wanted to in the 107. I got denied. My teammate said no way. Can't do it. Right, Raheem?
Yeah, that was all me. We kind of had a bet last week. I liked the Bears last week. They liked the Packers, so they had to give me the Bears this time.
Hey, I'm hospitable. I'm charitable. What can I say? That said, Raheem, even though in the 107 we have the Bears, I'm rooting like crazy for the Rams to go and win and cover and win in a big way. Okay, AD, I need an anytime touchdown from you. That's what you decided to give us for the prop. I love it. We gave out 4 anytime touchdowns, all from this game. This player was not mentioned. Game. Just saying.
Yeah. I thought about Loveland, too, actually, because, his target share is through the roof. He's had at least 10 targets in 4 straight games and been the most targeted player in the NFL over the last month. But I'm going the other way. I'm keeping it very simple here. Kyren Williams plus 120 to score. I know that Corum's gotten more of the action. I know that there's been all this talk nationally about Matt Stafford and his 1-yard touchdown passes, and he loves throwing it to Nakua, and he loves throwing it on the goal line to Adams as well. But ultimately, I think they're going to be able to get what they want on the ground here. And when McVay is able to get what he wants on the ground, he will take advantage of that first. Kyren scores plus 120. Don't even mind taking some Corum. I saw plus 280, I think, on Corum as well. I think this is the key to the game. It's going to be the Rams' offensive success running the ball, not necessarily putting up the gaudy stats through the air, but efficient and effective running.
AD, I play both of those guys at 50 and 40 yards. I think both of them have success because we see McVay go back and forth with the running backs. Yep. I think they're going to be able to run all over Chicago.
Agree. I think that's the path. And if it ends up that they have to throw, I think they could do that too. But I think they'll be able to run first, and that'll set the tone.
So hopefully we don't have a situation where we nail 3 out of 4 of these family meal bets, and then there's a loser, and then Kyron Williams is a winner. Because no, we can't cherry pick 4 for 4. Can't do that.
I would recommend we bet them all straight instead of putting them in a parlay, but that wouldn't have worked out yesterday, would it?
Ooh.
No, it would not have. Okay, AD. Championship game on Monday. This line can't get high enough. Public is all over the Indiana Hoosiers. It opened at 7, then to 7.5, then to 8.5. I'm not going to be surprised it climbs even more before we get to kickoff. Signetti, Mendoza, the talk of college football. This Miami team, though, physical, a lot of NFL talent, defense flexed against A&M, won a hard-fought game against Ole Miss. I need Indiana outright. That said, I think 8.5 is starting to get a little pricey. I think it's too many points. How do you read, handicap the game we're going to watch on Monday night?
Yeah, no interest in Miami for me. I think ultimately what Raheem said is kind of how I feel too, is that we struggle to price these elite college teams that tend to peak at the right time. And I'm not sure that we know where Indiana is on that scale yet, right? In the extended college football season, we have more data points, but because the middle of the Big Ten, the bottom of the Big Ten is kind of just some pushovers, we're not really sure how dominant this team truly can be. And we've seen that when they've played their biggest games, Ohio State, excellent defensive performance, especially in the red zone. The games in the playoff where they've been utterly dominant. I think the biggest key still is their red zone defense. And they are so good and have been all year in the red zone defensively. That is going to be the main thing. Miami might move the ball a little bit. They're going to struggle in the red zone. And I do think that Miami's defensive line can hold up enough. That's why I like under 47.5 in this game, but I'm not laying or taking the points with Miami in this game any way, shape, or form.
To Raheem's point, where the dominant team is usually in the finals at this point and just lays a smackdown, 2018 was the last time we had a game as close as 8 points in the final. Eight years ago. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Last year
crazy
was,
to think about.
7.5? The spread?
8.5, right? Yeah.
8.5? And then would they win by? Ohio State won by like 15, right?
34-23, and that was one of the close ones.
Let's be honest. Even though the margin, it was Ohio State was winning that game going away, and then it was.
I mean, there's 52-24s in there, 65-7s, 44-16s, and so much.
Yeah. If you like Indiana, take alts, right?
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah. You like Indiana, take some alts, have some fun, go from there. We'll do a lot more on the national championship game tomorrow on East Coast Bias. Sal, we'll see you with Simmons on Netflix. Make sure the makeup is where it needs to be. Okay. Hopefully you're in a glorious giddy mood and the Texans take care of business. That's going to do it for this Loaded Ringer Sunday pregame. For Raheem Palmer, Anthony Dabbundo, who's auditioning for The Bachelor, Cousin Sal, JJ signing off. We out. Enjoy the football. Cash the tickets. Take the ride. The boys are out. We'll see you next Sunday. Be good, everybody.